Let's discuss the Jeffrey Epstein files, because earlier this week, the case was closed, with Jeffrey Epstein's death being the result of a suicide and no list or further documents to be released, which means that either we know everything there is to know, or there's some kind of cover-up taking place. Now look, I'm not here to make any suppositions, but I do think it's worth discussing, so here are the facts. Epstein was originally investigated in 2005 after allegations that he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl. That FBI investigation uncovered evidence that he may have abused a lot more underage girls. In 2008, he pled guilty to procuring a minor for prostitution, which was a drastically reduced charge from the original federal sex trafficking charges. He served 13 months in prison for that. Then 10 years later, in 2019, he was arrested under suspicion of sex trafficking again, but killed himself in his jail cell before the trial. Now, the reason that suspicion and conspiracies surround this whole situation is because Jeffrey Epstein was associated with a large number of millionaires and celebrities. People with deep pockets who may not necessarily want the information about what went on at Epstein Island to get out. It doesn't help, of course, that the jail cell security footage from the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death was originally said to have been lost or non-existent, and then later was released, but with a suspicious time skip. To be clear, most of the flight logs have been released, and there are plenty of public photographs of Jeffrey Epstein with the people he spent time with, including, as you may know, Donald Trump. However, it's important to acknowledge the fact that it is possible that people knew Jeffrey Epstein, spent time with him, maybe even went to his island without knowing the full extent of his depravity. And I'm not saying that that's the likely scenario, I'm just saying we don't know. And in Trump's case specifically, he's been distancing himself from Epstein since 2004, before any of these allegations came to light. And as recently as this year, Trump very publicly encouraged FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate the documents with an intention to declassify them. So now I think what's throwing people is Trump's reaction to the question he was asked the day that the case had been closed. Instead of saying that they conducted a thorough search and found nothing more to release, he responded with confusion about why anybody would even ask that question, as if it hasn't been relevant recently. So you tell me. Was Jeffrey Epstein just a sick individual who took his own life before facing corporal punishment for his crimes? Or was his death orchestrated by powerful elites who are now conducting a major cover-up? Tell me in the comments, and follow me if you give a shit.